Hey guys, I thought I'd just share a little bit of my research here. Um, I've taken the liberty of digitizing the stock seat as well as a Sargent World Sport. And I think that most people, if you're like me, you kind of wonder in the back of your mind, what's the difference between the stock seat and an aftermarket seat in terms of the geometry? So I've done some really simple 3D analysis of the stock seat versus the Sargent World Sport seat for the FJR 1300. So I've got a 14 ES model, and I've had a couple back surgeries and stuff like that. So riding and having to stop every 45 minutes to an hour is kind of a bummer, just to get up and stretch and relieve the pressure on my back. So here's the stock seat. You can see we've pretty much captured everything. You can see we've even got the staples there, all the wrinkles, all that good stuff. And let's pop over. We'll have a look at the Sargent seat here. And immediately what pops out is just how flat and how much wider the wings are here that come out. So let me change a couple attributes here, and we're going to make this guy um, transparent. And let's change the color of the stock seat. Let's see if we can get an idea here. There you go. It's probably a little bit better. And let's come over here to this perspective view. And you can see the stock seat in the dark blue here inside of the volume of the Sargent World Sport. And you can see that the major deviation here is really towards the back and off to the sides. And this is approximately an inch, or about 25 to 28 millimeters wider in these sections here. And I have to kind of take the geometry with a grain of salt here. Now, the capture device used is it's a certified metrology device, so I'm not worried about accuracy. The data's been dumbed down a little bit because I don't really need uh, all the texture and everything else. We're just kind of going after the actual geometry here. But my point is that I've aligned the seat frame using this front tongue here on both the World Sport and the OEM, and also aligned the bracket on both to try and center them up. Now, there are some deviations, very slight deviations here, and that could be due to a little bit of uh, distortion of the actual seat pan itself and things of that nature. But I think we've got a pretty good alignment here from one to the other. You can see there's also a couple little height differences here. But the major difference between the two seats, you could see in this area here, where it's a little bit wider in the front, and you could see we've got that wider shelf here that then fades down. Same on the other side. And it appears that the Sargent seat also dips down a little bit in this area. So you can see the OEM seat is poking through, and it's a deviation of approximately 8 millimeters. So you're looking at like 5/16 difference, where the World Sport is dipped in this area, approximately that 5/16. So if we kind of toggle the OEM on and off, let's pull our transparency back here. We can see that a little bit better. And we can see, let's go with the 4-port view, and we get a better view there. So you can see that the World Sport does dip down a little bit. And we can also have a look at the cross sections. So let's see here. So this is the stock seat as a vector line cross section of the 3D model that we can see that's superimposed there on the Sargent. And we can just take a real quick measurement there just to kind of give an idea. So that's telling me 7.7 millimeters is the difference there. And you can see how it blends and dips in there. And we can also look at that those wireframes from the side, and we can see the width differences at each cross section. So we can see how that Sargent seat is a bit flatter in this area. Again, it's about a 5/16 or 8 mil deviation there, and this is about 25 millimeters, give or take. So we've got some idea of the differences. So really where I'm going with this personally is, I don't want to keep throwing hundreds of dollars or even, how many thousands of dollars am I going to spend to try and get comfortable? And so my plan of attack here is, since I have access to digital fabrication equipment and metrology equipment, is to measure the seats. And what I'm going to do is take the material off of this stock seat. I'm going to use this frame as a basis. I think what I'm going to do is take the World Sports seat, and I'm going to actually use this as a basis for me to sit on and capture the shape of my butt actually in the saddle at riding position. I've got a couple ways of doing that, and use these dimensions as the basis, because I think the lamb seat is even wider. The LAAM, if I'm saying that right. Looks like a nice seat. Um, but I think it's a lot wider back here, and part of the issue just might be width. But I want to kind of get an impression of my body sitting on this seat, and then what I'll do is I'm going to rip off the upholstery on this guy and just kind of reuse the stock frame, and then and possibly even 3D print or machine some additional plastic for some added support to the wider sections that are going to go on top. So that's kind of the plan of attack here. um, everybody's different. You might get somebody who buys a aftermarket seat of whatever brand. I'm certainly not, poo-pooing on the Sargent seat. It's definitely an improvement over stock. But everybody's body and riding position and style is different. Um, and this is really my quest to try and find a comfortable seat by kind of taking it into my own hands and sneaking up on what I think is the most comfortable for me. But I thought that you guys might like to see the differences between. And here's another view of the Sargent superimposed onto the stock seat. You see we've got a kind of a ghost view here. So we can switch that around. And you kind of get an idea with the stock seat inside, the difference between the two. So that's pretty much it. I'll try and update you guys as I move along in the process. But again, you spend hundreds of dollars, or even some seats you might spend $1,000 or more, and you have no idea really, other than what might be apparent visually, what the difference is in geometry. So I thought this kind of brief analysis might be helpful to some of you guys making a decision. Maybe the Sargent seat's right for you. I don't have any other seats to test, but that's where I am right now. Um, all right. Well, thanks for watching. Again, we'll try and update this as time goes on and I move along in the process. Thanks.